Welcome into the second Browns post-game show of the season. Mikey McNuggets, Earl the Pearl with you. G. Bush will join us here any second. And Earl on the 30th anniversary of the Ravens being a franchise. The Ravens currently have a 31-point lead on the Cleveland Browns with 2 minutes to play. The Browns are driving. Dillon Gabriel is in. The Browns have benched Joe Flacco here for the final drive. And we're going to talk about the quarterback play in a sec. We'll talk about the defense. We'll talk about the special teams disaster. But first, I have to ask you this, Earl. You had put out on Twitter that you felt good about this team. You thought they were going to upset the Ravens. I'm curious, what made you feel good about this team before this matchup, and how much has it changed over the last 58 minutes, what you think about this team?
What made me feel good about this team is the defense and the defensive effort for the better part of this game. That 41 points is going to look worse than what it really was for this Cleveland Browns defense. But that was the main driving force and why I felt like that. Outside of the January 4th game when we had played Baltimore, the last few games that we had played the Ravens, it was like a 4 or 5 point swing. And I think the Browns won one or both of those games. So to me, when I seen that spread, I kind of felt like this team was being disrespected. I felt like that the offense would be better going into week 2, but they wasn't at all. And the fact of the matter is it's a little bit of everything, man. I don't know if it's the scheme. I don't know if it's the play calling. I don't know if it's the execution, man, but we lack explosiveness and we lack creativity on the offensive side of the ball. For the Cleveland Browns to go into the halftime break trailing in that game, and they had outgained the Ravens 120-81 in the first half, that's ridiculous. Bro, we are on our way to 8 straight losses, and I did the math before we got on. If the Browns fail to score before this game expires, the Browns will have averaged 12.2 points per game during this 8-game losing streak. By the way, the longest current losing streak in the NFL. So bad job out of me with the prediction. I thought that the whole 30-year celebration would kind of like rev up the motor a little bit more. I thought that the Browns would go in there ready. I thought that the Browns would go in there feeling a little bit disrespected, but that was not the case. Yeah. The offense just don't have what it takes to compete with NFL teams, and that's crazy to say.
Now, I thought the defense, for the most part, played pretty well, Earl. Like, I understand the 41 points does not look good at the end of the day, but they did a really good job keeping Lamar and Derrick Henry in check. Yeah, this is not on the defense. This is a complete offensive failure from top down. The scheme doesn't seem to maximize the talent on the roster. Their offensive line issues galore. DeJuan Jones and Jack Conklin were in and out of the game. Conklin obviously warmed up and then didn't play at all. DeJuan Jones has been in and out. They were giving Flacco limited protection. Flacco's a statue back there, man. Yeah. He can't move. He's not the same Joe Flacco from 2023 when he led the Browns to the playoffs. He made some baffling mistakes. He had some miscues. The one touchdown they scored, mind you, was deflected off, and Dylan Sampson just caught a touchdown pass from Dillon Gabriel to make it 41-16 now. So there is Dillon Gabriel's first career touchdown pass. So shout out to DG. But Joe Flacco's just not the same anymore, guys. He's a statue back there. He's not – I don't think he's able to create some of the same magic we saw in December 2 seasons ago. And I know they're playing the Packers next week, so maybe it's not immediately time to take him out. I'm not sure if you want to throw Dillon Gabriel against that Packers defense for his first start, but I've seen enough. I don't need to see any more of Joe Flacco. I'm ready to see the rooks. G. Bush, what say you?
Y'all hear me? This is nasty work. So you try to come in here like regular analysts. Y'all do. I applaud y'all for having the analyst face on.
Man, you saw my G. You saw my text before we got in here.
I know. Get these. Listen. Dillon Gabriel, get ready. We've already seen enough. Come on, Dillon. Come on now. Get him ready. Get his little offense together. Figure out what you're gonna do. This was nasty work. 41-10. I'm not counting nothing that happened at the 5-6 minute mark. 41-10. By the way, that was another pick that they dropped and fell in. It should have been 41-3.
I was gonna say, yeah. They had the bad luck last week with the.
Come on, Marlon Humphrey or the deflection.
Yeah, they had the bad luck last week off the hands and the interceptions. This was an interception to a touchdown. They listen. The offense was abysmal. Like nothing worked. Jerry Jeudy had 2 more drops, unacceptable. The offensive line is old. G. Let's just call it a thing. The offensive line is not a strength anymore. I don't even know if it's adequate. To me, And I understand Conklin was out. I understand DeJuan Jones wasn't playing. It was bad today. The Ravens didn't even blitz. They were bringing 4. And let's be honest, what's the strength of the Ravens defense? It ain't the pass rush, especially without Kyle Van Noy, who was out for the majority of the game. And the running game, we saw a little bit from Quinshon Judkins. It was good to see him get his first NFL carries, but I'm over Jerome Ford.
Oh, boy.
Sampson is a nice pass catcher. I don't love him as a runner at this stage of his career. And I just think a lot of times none of these dudes are open. I thought Ross Tucker and Tom McCartney did a good job showing on some of these Flacco scrambles. A, he has no speed, and B, who's he throwing to? Guys aren't creating separation.
Route combos at, fellas?
Hey, before you came on, I was telling Mike, man, this scheme, it lacks creativity, it lacks explosiveness. It just seems like this offense is stale. Like even on the completions, man, it just seemed like basic, like it seemed like the basic Madden package. I kid you not. That's exactly what it feels like when you watch the Cleveland Browns.
The run balance package, Earl. It's like, hey, I got to pick run balance. It's just medium. I don't know what the concepts are, bro.
It's crazy. And then when they actually, to Mike's point about the offensive line being old, you go out to, I think earlier in the game, first quarter, they execute that screenplay and they get blown up by Kyle Hamilton, where that was the right play call in the moment, but the Pochik wasn't fast enough to get over there to really set it up for him to get some money on that play. So it just seems like the issues is all over the place, except for on the defense, man. And it's unfortunate because this defense is a playoff caliber defense, and it's not going to look like that at the end of the season because this is going to end up being the result when it's all said and done. Like the effort is going to be there, and eventually they're going to get worn down because the offense won't be able to give you anything. Like, think about this. What if the Browns, like at this point, man, we just asking y'all to be league average.
That's if you all we throw a parade for league average, girl. We throw a parade for league average.
Just league average will be enough to complement what this defense is giving you. And it's a shame, to be quite honest with you. It's a shame.
The Ravens have taken a knee, by the way. The game's officially over. 41-17, your final score. The Browns fought a 0-2 for the first time under Kevin Stefanski, and they host the 2-0 Green Bay Packers next week. And then they head to Detroit. The Lions put up 50 on the Chicago Bears today, so it does not get much easier here for the Cleveland Browns in the coming weeks. Gee, I didn't mean to cut you off.
They running, and I want to be clear. Let's be an offensive line. It's time to stop carrying water for them. Listen, they're old. People say, hey, I want to run the Kevin Stefanski package. Listen, you're not physical enough. You can't move people off the line of scrimmage. Quinshon Judkins had 8 carries for like 28 yards or something at one point in the fourth quarter. It's not. And the thing we got to get to is we keep looking for these saviors, bro. We keep saying Quinshon going to come back and get 200 yards on the ground. That's the problem. No, you ain't been able to run the ball since 2020. Your route combinations are some of the most basic, vanilla, plain Jane I've ever seen. You run stick routes. You run basic mesh. You don't even have drag routes. You don't even have nobody running open free. You don't have anybody open. Everything is sit them down at the sticks, man. And by the way, the Baltimore Ravens are more athletic than you. They run faster than you. They have athletes at different positions that you don't. And our dudes was catching the ball. I felt sorry for them because they was putting pads on everybody that caught the ball. They're like, oh, you're going to sit down for 5 yards? You going to sit down for 3 yards? Like elbows, forearms, whatever they wanted to do. It was nasty work. And by the way, what the most disheartening part about this thing is too, is that it didn't even look like they was even sweat.
They didn't break a sweat.
They were not pressed at all.
They didn't break a sweat.
Lamar Jackson was just like, they gave you point. They couldn't even put the ball in the end zone for a long period of time. It's just the levels and difference to it. And this is why I get so mad and upset when our local media talks about 30th anniversaries and things like that, because you didn't know. You guys really think you could come out here and say Art Modell, the Cleveland Browns moved, and that's going to move somebody? You got to go out and play these dudes. And this is what happens when you cry about stuff like that. You get 41 put on you. 41? Who gets kicks blocked, McNuggets?
Listen,
who blocks punts?
We're going to talk special teams in a sec because it wasn't just the offense that was bad today. The special teams led directly to the Ravens' first 10 points. Defensively, for as good as they are in some facets, they have major holes. And we're going to name names. That's what we do. But Cam Mitchell got picked on. There was another coverage bust. Ross Tucker called it a coverage bust. I'm excited to see Tyvis kind of break down. But on that last touchdown to Wallace, on the outbreaking corner route, there was no outside leverage, and the nickelback was on the interior playing inside leverage. That just can't happen. And when the margin of error for a team that lacks elite talent like the Browns do, you have Myles Garrett, and that's the only elite, and Denzel, those two, and then there's a giant drop-off in terms of elite talent. You can't make mental mistakes. Your special teams has to be awesome. You have to be able to convert third downs and move the chains and have a quarterback who's capable of, hey, if the offensive line's not blocking and a receiver's not open, he may be able to scramble for 7 yards. Joe Flacco had that one scramble today, guys. I think he runs an 8-second 40-yard dash right now. Like, it was the most miraculous thing I'd ever seen that he was able to pick up the first down on that scramble to keep the drive going. And then the touchdown they score, it should have been an interception from Marlon Humphrey. So you can't even really feel good about it because it was a fluke play. It was fourth down. I tweeted out just like Stefanski drew it up, and people thought I was being serious. And I'm like, guys,
Joe,
do you think they had the, hey, throw it into Marlon Humphrey's hands and bobble it play? Or let's talk special teams, though. The block punt, Bjorquez gets hurt. They give up the big punt return that leads to the first field goal. We had our Mike Prefer issues. We were all thrilled about the hiring of Bubba Ventrone, but it seems like each and every week we come back on this show and we have some sort of qualm, some sort of issue with the faster the special teams unit. And so far through 2 games this season, it simply has not been good enough.
Man, the Brown special teams unit ain't been good under Bubba Ventrone since he's been a special teams coach. At the time, we thought Kevin Stefanski was making a swift move, and we thought that he was upgrading. He was getting a guy that at the time was making his name as a special teams guru, believe it or not, when he was there in Indianapolis. And then it's a guy that's a former player that actually played special teams. So you would have thought that unit would be much better, but it's been issues in the kicking game. It's been issues in punt coverage and kick coverage. I don't even think we probably got like 1 or 2 returns in a punt or kick return game since he's been a special teams coordinator as well. So, it hasn't really been much that unit has done to really impact winning in a positive way. If anything, they didn't cost us more games than they done helped us win since he's been a coach here. And that's just facts.
It's bad.
Man,
it's bad.
It's and it's not just one special team. Right, it's 1 week you miss your field goals to win a game. The next week, you're up back. Your personal protector on the kickoff team, Ronnie Hickman, gets blown up. You get a punt blocked. It's one after the other. It's nothing where this is why I always say, and I know that there is when you do this type of content, it's kind of hard to kill the team every single week if they're playing bad, because it's a thing where you get into it and people just tune you out because they think you're just being too negative. But the reality of the situation is, these things are not happening to other teams. They're just not. We watch a lot of football. We watch a ton of football. And for you to get a punt blocked in the NFL is miraculous, because most of the times in the NFL, they're not even trying to set up a block. They don't want nobody running into a kicker and giving nobody 15 yards. They're setting up returns. Mm-hmm. So for you to get a punt block is they saw something on film that says, we think he saw. We going after him and we can get one. John Harbaugh is a special teams coach, and they do that. And the bad part about it is defense, Myles Garrett continues to play well. He gets the guys on the sideline together and say, hey, guys, let's continue to go out there and play some football. Isaiah McGuire played some nice plays out there. And for them, Greg Newsome has some nice breakups. But when you out there as a defensive player and you got that JV lacrosse practice going on out there for the offensive side of the football, where you everything is under 4.5 yards, you ain't spreading the field, it looks terrible. You're gonna come away at some point in the season saying, "What are we doing this for? Yeah. We putting our body out. What are we doing this for?" Because you can't win football games if your offense is putting that type of work out.
Gee, that's why I was shocked when Joel Bitonio decided to come back. Right, like we talked about. Hey, is Joel going to come back and want to play on a team that he doesn't think can really compete at the highest of levels? And we can try and talk ourselves into Flacco all we want, but like Flacco was good for 5 games in the last 8 years. Like that little stretch he had with Cleveland in 2023 was not the norm of Joe Flacco since he left Baltimore. That was the one anomaly. He had been bad and been benched in a number of different teams before that stretch, which had made that so much fun. But at the same time, it was hard to replicate. And when you look at this team, I don't know how you can feel confident in this. They don't have the juice. Like we made this joke over the offseason, G. You know the Anchorman scene where they had the fights and everyone brings the different weapons?
Right.
And we call Jerry Jeudy a switchblade. He's a good weapon to have, but like when other dudes have bazookas and machine guns and samurai, so like what Dylan Sampson's a sharpened pencil, and Harold Fannon's like a straightened out paperclip. And it's no disrespect to them, like they can get better. But you know what I'm saying? Like it's not a fair comparison. And if Joe Flacco is the captain of your team and he's the one leading this, like he's not good enough to elevate those guys to levels. If you had Patrick Mahomes, yeah, everyone else is going to look better. If you have a Josh Allen, everyone's going to look better. Joe Flacco, with all due respect to Joe, there's a reason he was ranked at 29th, 30th, 31st best quarterback in football heading into the season. And to your point about everyone calling us negative this week on the show, right? You guys should get Prozac to be your sponsor. You think we like talking about a football team that stinks? Like, Earl, like back me up here. It's so much more fun to talk about a competitive football team. But I can't come out here and lie to you guys and try and generate some fake buzz and juice when I don't see it. And for anyone who has optimism for this team moving forward, like, please explain to me why. Kevin Stefanski's offense has not been good. Point blank period. It hasn't mattered the play caller, right? That really hasn't mattered. I don't have the exact numbers, but the play calling and the offensive production stunk last year at Ken Dorsey. They have 33 points through 2 games this year. One of those touchdowns came in garbage time. Another one of those touchdowns came off a dropped interception that bounced into a receiver's hands. So in 2 games, they really have one legitimate touchdown drive, G. Earl, where's the optimism coming from?
Y'all know what's I'm the captain of the Kool-Aid Mafia. And Earl, listen, I was going to say this, and like you set you up. You even was optimistic on Twitter, Earl. You said, hey, let's have some faith. You tried.
I tried. I ain't want to be the Debbie Downer, but I think like what's more frustrating to me when we talk about the Cleveland Browns offense, this is a Ravens defense that surrendered over 400, like damn near 400 yards passing last week. Now, granted, Josh Allen is on a whole nother level, but in my opinion, I kind of believe that our skill position players is a little bit better than what they have in Buffalo, right? And so with that being the case, you would have thought Tommy Rees and Kevin Stefanski would have watched film so intensely this week to figure out what weaknesses in the Ravens secondary or in the Ravens defense that they could be able to exploit. And it's so frustrating because you hire Tommy Rees as the offensive coordinator, and he and Kevin is supposed to team up and just come up with more creativity. And it just seemed like that the creativeness in this offense isn't there. You watch every other team in the NFL, and they got these route combinations that scheme guys open, and it just seems like it don't seem like it's rocket science. For whatever reason with us, man, it seems like it's rocket science to do the simplest things. And even when they run the routes, like, what's up with these wide receivers, man, running routes short to the mark? Like, you on a 3rd down, you on the 4th down, you need 6 or 7 yards, and you running a 5-yard curl. Like, what are we doing? Why isn't the wide receiver coach getting on their asses when it comes to stuff like that? It's just so many different things that surrounds this Cleveland Browns offense that's frustrating. And yeah, I was very optimistic. I'm not even going to front. I'll take it on the chin. I thought this defense was good enough, and I hope that the offense will come in and play competent enough football that the Browns can hang in there and have a chance. And for the most part, they had a chance, but we have no offense. And right now, clear as day, we're going to see what it is. Another thing on that, though, Dylan did get in at the 4:43 mark, but man, come on. Like, you still running Joe out there when you know the game is intact. If you're going to let Joe Flacco be your starting quarterback, every single time that our opponent get up 14, 20 points and you know the game is pretty much in hand, take him out, bring in the young guys. Ain't no point to keep trying to try him out there when you know the game is over with. For what? That just didn't make sense.
Yeah, this is why, we go back to the quarterback situation. And this is why, and you know why I like people playing games, because now you get to see, so much of what we do is about talking and narratives and how this going to pan out. And I think. But guess what? When you go out there and you actually see the tape and you got to play, you see where you're at. 41-3 is where you're at. That's where you're at right now. And my thought process is this. At some point in time, the Cleveland Browns are going to have to look in the mirror and say, if the Baltimore Ravens moved on from Joe Flacco and then they got Lamar Jackson, how do you think that you're going to beat that team when they've upgraded and you're taking the retreads? We howled and screamed that we had Kenny Pickett, and the Pittsburgh Steelers said he's not good enough for us, right? When you're going to have to find, develop, and put your own, what they say back, no, it was in training day when Denzel was like, which one of these fools want to smoke somebody for me? They came up to him and gave him the piece and said, hey, you got to put your own work in here, homie, dog. You got to put your own work in here, Kevin, Andrew. Stop looking for other people's old work. You got to develop and draft. Put your own work in over here, dog, because that's the only way you're going to get there. That's it.
It's bad. Now, I'm going to say something crazy here. I think they're going to play well next week against Green Bay. I genuinely think, and I've been right on both games so far. I said they'd cover against Cincinnati and lose. I thought they'd get blown out by the Ravens. I think they're going to compete their asses off and give Green Bay all they can handle.
When you say play well, you mean I believe the defense is going to show up and play well. You think the offense is going to show up and play well next week?
I think it'll be a close game. I genuinely think it'll be a close game. I think it's going to be one of those games that all week we're talking about how good Green Bay is and how bad the Browns are. And G, I see your face, and once again, this is
I'm frozen.
A gut feeling more than any. I have no reason to believe this. There's no reason. Just like Earl going into today's game, it's just a gut feeling you had. Sometimes your gut's right, sometimes your gut's wrong. I have a gut feeling that this team is going to respond in a good way. I don't think they'll necessarily beat Green Bay, but I think they'll respond in a good way. And I have nothing to back it up, G. I have no numbers to point to. I have nothing statistical, nothing analytical. It is purely a gut feeling. And this season so far, I'm 2 for 2 with my gut feelings on the Browns. Real quick, I want to mention one thing, and then we could continue wherever this takes us. We've had a lot of discussions about Jerry Jeudy. And Jerry Jeudy said that Ravens secondary is going to present no problems. For the most part, the Browns kept Derrick Henry in check. They didn't run the ball a ton. He can't drop the ball at the rate he's dropping the ball at right now. I cannot have the number one offensive weapon on your team with a drop rate where Jerry Jeudy's is at, G. And I'm not sure if that's something you could fix. His year-by-year drop rates started high, went low, and then they climbed back up. Why can't Jerry Jeudy catch the ball right now?
What separates good players from bad players or great players from elite players or Hall of Fame players from just guys that are Pro Bowlers is a word that starts with C, consistency. There's a level of consistency that goes into everything. And sometimes we anoint people because they just happen to be the best player on our team. And what I've been trying to do with this initiative called Project Stockpile is to stockpile talent where you have enough talent at every single position where you can hold people accountable and say, if you don't want to show up and do it, I got somebody else on the bench that I'm developing, I'm working with. But the problem with the Cleveland Browns is they don't draft well, they don't develop well. So Jerry Jeudy is cool where he at, because here's the thing. In Denver, they figured it's like, listen, we're not playing what you got. We got Cortland Sutton, and we'll get you up out of here. We cool with that. For the Cleveland Browns, we got Cedric Tillman, who also drops the ball. We also have guys like Jamari Thrash, who we don't see in the playbook. We don't see him. And as long as the Cleveland Browns, I'm the best on the Browns, there's no consequences, because Jerry Jeudy is going to get the same amount of targets. He's going to get the same amount of routes that he's going to get this week as he did next week, because the Browns are devoid of talent. And we continue to feel it. We just went from Amari Cooper to Jerry Jeudy. Think about it. I mean, what did you add? You didn't add anything. You need 3 competent, solid receivers. And can we stop talking about tight ends count? David Njoku, I mean, if you're going to throw him check down routes and have him drag a couple of people for some yards, that ain't going to get it done, man. That is not explosiveness. That's not a playbook.
Ross Tucker said on the broadcast he'd never seen a team more excited to check it down on 3rd and long in his life than what the Browns did early today. And I thought it was applicable. I mean, like they had the one deep shot to Jeudy on the left sideline. They had the one play action shot to Fannin. I think those were their only 2 plays in the air of 20 or more yards. And when you're moving the ball at a snail's pace up and down the field, you can be methodical. But G and Earl, you know better than most. it's really hard to be consistent and not shoot yourself in the foot and not put yourself behind the chains if you're consistently getting 3, 4, 5 yards of play at best. It can work for a drive, but over the course of a game, you need some explosiveness. You need some juice. And Jason told us, Jason Lloyd, to his credit, said, guys, we knew how bad the offense was last year. And they used their first 2 picks on defensive players. What does that tell you? And
that tells me you're very dumb. That means the front office has no clue. Let's just call it what it is. If you said that, just take the step forward and say it was the worst offense last year. You drafted D tackles.
Yeah.
But I mean, come on.
Oh, AG, 8-game losing streak as of today. The Browns is averaging 13.1 points a game, and that 8-game losing streak. The last time the Browns scored over 20 points was week 13 against the Denver Broncos. That was December 2nd, 2024.
That was the Sunday night or Monday night football game.
Yeah, that's the last time we
went crazy. That's absurd.
But think about that, though.
It's unacceptable. It's unacceptable.
13.1 points a game in our last 8 regular season games played.
Unacceptable.
I look at it and people say they don't, that's the thing about it. Tom Brady said something the other day. I said it on the barbershop. Everybody keeps talking about whether or not a quarterback is in this draft or next year's draft or whatever draft it is. Quarterbacks, you just don't grow quarterbacks and they just come in and be good. This organization has to do something. If you think that a rookie quarterback is going to come in and ball out, when you have no offensive lineman under contract and the offensive line you got right now ain't no good. Jerry Jeudy can't catch the ball. That's your number 1 receiver. The running game is non-existent. That's the point I be telling y'all. Like, you putting it all on all these other little parts and areas where at some point, turn around and look at the people who are in charge of doing it. I didn't draft nobody. They're drafting people. They're making the decisions. The kicker didn't show up and say, put me on the team. They are making decisions. If your receivers can't catch, and we know you didn't have receivers for how long, and you still don't have them, can't develop them, at some point, guys, you're holding on to stuff that ain't working. It's been 6 years. You want 3 more years to feel comfortable about he was here 10 years? And come on, guys. Where's the development? He's in charge of the offense. He's calling the plays. You can't blame Ken Dorsey. You can't blame Deshaun Watson. He ain't played in 2 years. It was Watson in the contract. No, your playbook's still trash.
So G, this is the last point. Anyone else can make a point? We'll read some super chats. You want to talk about putting players in positions to succeed? We can argue Kevin Stefanski has not, whatever. I don't think he has. Some people may say they do, whatever. Russell Wilson last week was an abomination for the Giants. An abomination last week for the Giants. They played the Washington Commanders. This week they're playing the Dallas Cowboys. Russell Wilson in overtime right now has 455 yards and 3 touchdowns. Let me repeat that. Russell Wilson has 455 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks. The Giants have scored 37 points. It's 37-37 in overtime. You can make a quarterback that is not as talented as he once was successful. And Russell Wilson's not going to throw for 400 yards every week. Do not get what I'm saying misconstrued. But you can put certain players in positions to win and take advantage of certain matchups. And as I said that, Russell Wilson just fumbled out of bounds. It's okay. But you can put players in a situation to succeed against certain lineups. And you can find the Giants have picked apart whoever's guarding Malik Neighbors in one-on-one coverage. If he's in one-on-one coverage, the ball's going to him every single time. And Dayball has done an incredible job in this game of isolating and moving Neighbors around to create those matchups to make easy throws for Russell Wilson. The Giants' offensive line isn't great. The Giants have not run the ball great. Russell Wilson's thrown the ball very well today, but he's been put in a position to be able to have success thanks to some creative game planning from Dayball, Mike Kafka, and the Giants staff. I just don't see that with the Browns. I don't. I haven't seen it. And last year we gave a lot of excuses. It may have been Ken Dorsey. This year there's no excuse. And G, you've said it. You said it many times. The scapegoat's not there. And at this point, the blinds have been pulled back, and we are seeing into what these guys are. And so far, through the prism of these 2 games, I have not been impressed by anything offensively I've seen at all.
Earl, at least you mentioned somebody. Y'all got Malik Neighbors. See, when you got a guy that is just better than people, like, you see?
I just... Like, I don't want to be that dude, man. It's after week 2, but it's frustrating because I try to stay where my feet are. The reality of the situation is, when this conversation happened last year, I was one of the few people that felt like, not one of the few, but I was one of the people that felt like Kevin Stefanski and Andrew Berry both needed to be gone. Once I realized they was coming back, I kind of like chalked it up to it. It is what it is. And I was willing to kind of like give Kev the benefit of the doubt that he's growing as a head coach. You about to hire Tommy Reese as the offensive coordinator. You got this young guy that's gaining his name in the NFL, has had a lot of success at the collegiate level. Okay, cool. Just maybe we might get more creativity in this Cleveland Browns offense than what we have seen in seasons past. But, you know, G, you pointed this out on one of your shows a couple weeks ago. You went back and you looked at the offensive numbers from Kevin Stefanski each of the last 4 seasons prior to now of him being a head coach. And I think like we all just need to snap out of it and wake up and realize that it ain't what we think it is. It probably ain't gonna never what we want it to be. And it's probably time to move on. I hear y'all talk about the development of quarterbacks. I hear y'all talking about, you know, the development of the wide receivers. Like, you got 2 bad situations here. You got somebody that's going to the grocery store and they picking out all the wrong groceries. They bring it at home and the head coach don't know how to cook. So like this is a messed up situation across the board, and it's frustrating for everybody around because we can sit up here and say we need a quarterback, man. We need linemen, we need wide receivers,
we need everything.
Like we need a corner that's not named Denzel Ward. Like we need we need all kind of stuff. And I don't know, man. We're gonna try to find a way to get ourselves motivated each and every single week when the Browns play and try to find different talking points, man. But today, like, it all was stamped like it is
sobering.
What it is.
Sobering.
On that side of the ball, it is what it is. And like when they jump on a plane and come home, you know, if I'm Jim Schwartz and if I'm my unit, like how do I feel? This is 2 weeks in a row, man. I done gave a winning effort out there on the football field, and my offense can't give me nothing. And everybody know eventually you keep throwing the defense on the field like that, man, they play offense too. And Lamar started extending plays, and man, dude, DeAndre Hopkins was catching some of the craziest, like.
But Earl, on the barbershop, we don't need DeAndre Hopkins. We talk. Can we get it? No, we don't need. He washed.
Hey man, when we was talking about we need a D-Hop, and we had Donovan Peoples-Jones here, people were saying like we ain't know what we was talking about because DPJ was coming off the season he was coming off of, and he was ascending, and DeAndre Hopkins was going the other direction. This man's still out here catching touchdowns at 33 years old.
Oh, nice.
Crazy. Let's do some super chats, guys, and we will wrap this up. Set Apart Laz says, exposed. P. Rothstein says, the offensive trash, the coaching on offense trash, offensive line is suspect. Flacco out there moving around in mud. I've seen enough of everything associated with the Browns coaching-wise. Time for the rookies. Kevin Stefanski said he will not consider a quarterback change next week, so we will get Joe Flacco again.
Well, why did he put? No, Kevin, stop looking for scapegoats. If you don't want to change the quarterbacks or you don't want Dylan to come in, keep Joe out there. Then what you put him in for? Like, you're not even going. What are we doing?
Considering Green Bay's the opponent, I can kind of get it, but I'm with you, G. I'm ready to see the rookies. Miss Bell 70 says Flacco's not the same. Say it ain't so. Gabriel ain't short. Shador inactive. FYI, Peyton Manning said Arch is adopted until they push the door. D4L Josh said glad Kevin got his offense back.
Look.
Mike Ricksecker says at least I suppose they contained Henry.
Kinda, sorta, yeah.
HNT 63 says Stefanski gonna stick with Joe. Watch, he is.
Well, there you go.
D4L Josh said, like G said last year, the scapegoat is gone now. King Slime said, I don't trust this regime to evaluate wide receivers, but we might have to spend both first-round picks on wide receivers next year. One has to hit.
Oh, we need, and I told him on Friday, Earl, I said, I don't like the draft linemen. Listen, like, I don't want nobody my size playing for me. And guess what? We might need 3 to 4 of them. Literally.
Crazy. All right, next one is from E-Unit. Body language telling me the club thinks they are tanking and going nowhere. Buckeye Steel 76 says, if Judy is a switchblade, Flacco's a rolled up newspaper. Yep, that's very appropriate. Laddie Lady says, lost. Old man Flacco going downhill fast. Why? Touch not my anointed Shador number 12. Paul, the true believer, says, are the Cleveland Browns done with Flacco yet? Can the old man go home? According to Kevin Stefanski in his postgame presser, there will be no quarterback change. Young Yogi says, when are going to call it like it is? Kevin's offense lacks explosive creativity. All through his tenure, I'm beyond done. Time to tank. I think we appropriately talked about the lack of creativity, the lack of offense, and everything wrong with the Browns' offensive scheme in this postgame show. Brody's bottom line says, until Kevin checks his ego at the door, the Browns will never be any good. 40-46, but Jason thinks he's Andy Reid. Beautifully Blessed says, at this rate, Prime will be the coach of the Browns next year. Brody's bottom line says, I wouldn't let Kevin call plays for my nephew's flag football team. Miss Bell 70 says, isn't Stefanski the quarterback developer and coach of the year?
Yeah.
Tim Mogul says, from a Baltimore Colts fan, shout out. Bill Rodewald says, time for Gabriel. Judkins looked good. Real quick, 30 seconds. What do you think of Judkins?
I think he showed he can get you 2 or 3 more yards just on him being him. When ain't nothing there. I made the conclusion that the offensive line is cooked. They're cooked.
Or what'd you think?
I said yesterday on the radio that his usage was going to be a little higher than what people thought. I said anywhere around 15 to 20. I think he got like 13 total touches in this game. For a guy that had one padded practice that ain't been around since OTAs, not too shabby. He looked better than every other running back.
Yeah. By the way, Jerome Ford, can we strip him of his carries today? Like, we don't need to see no more anything from that. Like, zombie.
Crazy. All right, next, Paul, the true believer, says, I have a new program as well, G. It's called Project Get the Old Mediocre Quarterback Out of the Game Before he self-destructs the season. Mr. I Crap and Shit says, is there a reality where the Browns are so bad they hit the F it button and activate the Deshaun? I hope not, but the season is feeling like 2016. I've said this before. I'll say it again. You have 2 rookie quarterbacks on the roster you have to evaluate. Any snap that goes to Deshaun Watson is a wasted snap. I will not understand any reason to why they would ever play Deshaun unless it is an absolute break glass in case of emergency situation.
If I'm Deshaun, I'm waiting it out. I'm cool.
And on Deshaun, I don't want to go behind that offensive line.
I would put myself on a red shirt. I'm good. I redshirted myself. Like, I'm good this year.
Next one, Neil Gray says, until the Browns make winning a Super Bowl and division title a priority, they will not develop a winning culture. Hold Kevin Stefanski accountable. Young Yogi says, give me Cardinal Tate and Sam Levitt next year. Russell Wilson just threw the worst interception I've ever seen.
You done talked him. You talked him up.
SBT Lewis, he threw it up to neighbors, and he just overthrew him by about 17 yards. SPT Lewis says, fire Stefan stinks. His offense is explosive. Vernell Jackson says, I kept telling you that Stefanski is trash. He hasn't developed one quarterback. He's a fraud. Rodney Hip says, we're going to figure something out. It's going to be okay. That
sounds like if a tornado came through your area and tore your backyard up and your wife is tripping the fence down. Don't worry, babe. We're going to be okay. We're going to figure something out.
Sly says, I thought Flacco made receivers better. Viren Nando says this generational college QB class is looking weak. Smallville says, I miss Jameis Winston. So do I, by the way. He was at least fun. Terrell says, typically, if you're being asked if you're going to change quarterbacks, you probably need to. Typically, if you're being asked, if you're going to, he said it twice. But yes, if you're being asked about a quarterback, it's probably time for a change. Kev the Postman says, might as well start 12.
Nah, we waiting that out. We waiting all that out.
Shaq with no brick says, is Flacco done? Yes is the only option. Neil Gray says, Browns media that has access to Stefanski and Andrew ain't asking them the real questions. They and the owner doesn't respect the fans and the city. They don't care about the fans. Like, we know that. They do not care about the fans. You have to just, unfortunately, accept that reality. Am I wrong?
And here's what I tell y'all. The only way it really going to work like that is if you make it unattainable. I've been here long enough through 1 and 31. You know what the fans did? I ain't coming. I'm not showing up to none of that stuff. I ain't showing up to none of it. And it catch people's eyes really quickly when it's the stadium is half full and you can't give away tickets in November and October.
I think people try to ask them certain questions, but I think that the media in this city who's been around this team enough knows that you're wasting your breath asking them any real question when the microphones is on and the cameras are on and they're not going to give you anything. So I think every time we hear that, it's one of those things like it comes off like you want media to talk just to talk, when everybody in Cleveland media know as long as a camera is on or a microphone is on, either one of them are not going to say anything real. Nothing. But like Tyvis said on the Ultimate 216 show on Friday, if they cool with you, they'll tell you anything when the cameras is off. So I can't say that people are not holding them accountable by asking the right questions. I just think people is exhausted of asking questions and getting nothing in return.
Ownership has to hold people accountable. Yeah. Not the media. The media can ask questions all they want until the owner feels the heat. Like, yo, these dudes is not messing with me no more. Like, the fans don't mess with us no more. Like, then they'll start thinking like, oh, this is we got to figure this out.
But he's not gonna think like that. He's not gonna think like that, man. The Browns was a cash cow for him, and as long as this team is making him money, as long as he got this stadium project that he focused on and things like that,
that's it.
It is what it is.
All right, last super chat. Shaq with no brick says we shut Henry down, and the Ravens shut the Browns down. 41-17, your final. 0-2 start for Cleveland. The first time under Kevin Stefanski. They have started 0-2. They have the Green Bay Packers next week, and we'll be right here, same time, same place, for your 2-minute warning post-game show. For Earl the Pearl, G. Bush, I'm Mikey McNuggets. See you tomorrow on UCSS. Peace.